You can't stop change. You can't even slow it down, but you can stop suffering through it. Because the suffering isn't caused by the change itself, it's caused by how we respond to it. So in this video, I'm breaking down one very powerful mindset shift that's going to help you and your team move from resisting change to rising with it. Let's get it. All right, so I'm going to start with the truth bomb. Change is not the enemy. The truth is, most suffering in the workplace, it doesn't come from all the change that you're dealing with. It comes from unprocessed emotions that are inspired through it. It's not the reorganization, it's your loss of clarity and security. It's not this new shiny technology, this new AI. It's the fear of looking incompetent, learning how to use it. The change itself is neutral. It's the meaning that you give to it that gives it its power. From a neuroscientific standpoint, and know that I'm not a neuroscientist, I'm not a biologist, I'm a mere chemical engineer. And I've studied this stuff because I'm fascinated by it. But our brain seeks patterns. It seeks things that we can recognize. It seeks comfort, and it's actually this prediction machine. And so when something of surprise hits, that's when the emotions are sparked. That's when the signal happens. And that's where there's potential to experience that suffering. But the truth is, you have choice. You have power to use this complexity, this system that we have within ourselves, to choose something different, to not choose that suffering. So I want to share with you a mindset that's going to help you do just that. It's something that I've coined change enthusiasm. So the mindset called change enthusiasm has 3 steps. It's the signal, the opportunity, and the choice. The signal are these difficult emotions that are inspired when moving through change, when something new gets introduced, and this could be where the road takes you into suffering. But in practicing this mindset, these emotions are used as guideposts, as signals pointing you to where you care, where you value, and where you have opportunity to learn and grow. And to get from step 1 to step 2, you move across what I call the bridge of trust. It's trusting those emotions exist for a reason. They're there to serve you, not to annoy, not to be suppressed, not to be ignored, but to use as information, as data. And once you carry that trust, you move into your opportunity. This is where you start asking those questions. How can I make this thing that has just happened, that I did not expect, that has given me so much anger, how can I make it work for me as opposed to against me? What is the lesson that's here for me to learn? How can I become better because of this, as opposed to just sinking into bitterness and I hate them all. I hate them all. How can you find that betterment? And it's in this second step that you're working these options. What could I do? How could I really maximize this opportunity? Who could I go chat with? What could I go and read? How can I learn this a little bit better? And then the final step is the choice. This is where the magic happens. We can begin to transform all that signal emotion, because it's energy, we can transform it into fuel for growth. You know, this reminds me of an individual that sat in one of my audiences very, very recently, and she reached out to me afterwards on LinkedIn and said she had just been assigned a new role and their company is going through so much change. It is an unprecedented amount of change that they're experiencing, and in it, she's been given all new responsibility and she has all these new tools to learn. They're integrating AI. She's been so overwhelmed, every day feeling fearful, feeling anxiety, but she said it was my message and change enthusiasm that has given her a new lens through which to view it all, and that it's a massive opportunity for her to grow in her career. And so she's going to start taking those little steps to figure out, how can all this work for me as opposed to against me? And she's committed to making those choices. This stuff works. But here's the truth of it. You don't just make one choice and then you're a change enthusiast and all change is wonderful here on out. You have to keep practicing this mindset, because the signal emotions are never going to fully go away, because something else is going to hit. You're going to think you know the AI tool, and then a new version is going to come to light. Or you're going to use a whole different other tool, and more anger, more frustration is going to come, inviting you right back in to practice this mindset. Steps 1, 2, and 3. Working these steps over and over. It is a practice. And the promise of enthusiasm, that change enthusiasm, is in the practice itself. I talk about the promise, right, being change enthusiasm. It's because the more that you practice this, when you start to be able to recognize and tune in to that signal emotion, your emotional fluency increases, right? You know, ooh, I am feeling frustration in this moment. I know it because my heartbeat has gone up. I feel like punching a wall. You know what? I'm going to give myself some grace. You might go get on the couch for a day. All you might do is eat pizza. And maybe even put some cupcakes in that, right? But then you're gonna get up the next day knowing, here I am, this is my mindset. I'm gonna transverse this bridge of trust, this anger, this frustration's here for a reason. Let me get into my opportunity and understand how can I learn and how can I grow. The more times you practice this, you'll spend less time in those signal emotions because you know there is something here to teach me. I'm about to learn, I'm about to grow. That's the enthusiasm, right? The root of enthusiasm is entheos. That's the Greek derivation. It means divinely inspired. So change enthusiasm is inspired by change because it means it's opportunity for you to become better, for you to help somebody else, for you to become a better leader, a better employee, a better spouse, a better parent, right? And you can leverage these emotions as fuel, as guideposts to move you forward. That's the promise of the practice. I've been doing it for over 2 decades now, and I feel like my enthusiasm gets bigger and bigger, but also the feeling of the signals. They have never gone away, but now I know what to do with them when they bubble up. So I've talked about how you can embrace this as an individual, but I thought I also might share how might you use or nurture the practice of this mindset with your team, with the people that you're working with, whether they report to you or not. Here's one quick tip that you can use. When an announcement is made that means a change is coming, or whether that be a reorg, whether that be a new AI integration, new technology, of course, allow your team and others to express, okay, this is what it means, this is what I'm gonna have to do, this is the timeline. But then ask the question, what else could this mean? What else could this mean for us? How could this make us better? Right? Be ready with that question. Have them start thinking about, okay, what could be the good that comes from this, right? Allow that to be a natural part of the conversation every time there's a new change that's announced. And the other element that I always talk about is the power of curiosity, because I truly believe that curiosity is the currency of agility. It is the currency of agility. You can become more agile the more curious you remain when moving through a lot of change. What is this here to teach us? How can we become better? How can we learn from that mistake? What are you feeling? Name those emotions. Why do you think you might be feeling that? What thoughts are bringing your awareness into that emotion? What am I experiencing? What emotion am I experiencing, and how am I showing up, right, to my team, to my partner, to my spouse, to my kids? Ask those questions. Stay curious. The more curious you could be, not drifting into panic, the more agile you will become and the more agility you'll start nurturing across your team. I always invite people to think about the practice of this mindset, the practice of being more agile and becoming a change enthusiast as like resistance strength training, right? Athletes don't think about their weight training as suffering. Although I was a D1 athlete at Georgia Tech, I threw shot put and discus, and sometimes I did feel like I was suffering in that weight room. But ultimately, in my heart of hearts, I knew that that was my fuel. That's how I'm going to win when I'm out there on the field. It's through lifting these weights, and the better that I got, the stronger that I got, the more excitement that happened for it. And I actually look forward to most of my training days. So think about change in that way. Ooh, another change just hit. I'm about to get stronger. I'm about to grow. This is about to be my fuel to become a better contributor, a better leader, and move my way to where I want to go next in my career. Now, the best part that I enjoy the most, free! I got something free for you. At the bottom, there's a link, free chapter, my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm, How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. Everything that I just talked about, you get a free chapter to the book that talks it all, that lays it all out. You don't have to pay me for it or anyone else. It's yours completely for free. So until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, keep practicing the mindset, and keep rocking.